All right. Now that I got the Thanksgiving thing out of the way, let's talk about Volkanovski taking on Ilia Tuporia. And it's a shame he doesn't get talked about as much as he should. I think he should be talked about more. I think he's the perfect guy to dethrone Volkanovski. Now I know he's been beat twice already, but it didn't happen at featherweight. It's happened at a division above him. All right. So Volkanovski is clearly the best featherweight in the world at this moment. He's clearly the guy. He's whipped Holloway 3 times. He's beaten Aldo. He's beaten Yair Rodriguez. He's beaten Ortega. He's beaten up everybody he's fought. And it hasn't really been much of a struggle. I think Brian Ortega was probably his toughest fight. And to be honest, outside of the chokehold that he got put in a few times, it really wasn't a hard fight for him. He it was pretty one sided for the most part. It was back and forth, but it was clear Volk was in control most of the fight and was really, again, outside of those chokeholds, he was never in any kind of danger in that fight. So he's clearly the best guy right now. But Ilia has been on the rise. I really love his fighting style. I love how he fights. I love how his talent. And he's tough too. Josh Emmett, even though it was 43 or whatever it was, he did get hit a few times pretty hard in that fight. His face was busted up a little bit, even though Josh Emmett was busted up more. And he proved he can go 5 rounds dominating somebody and he won't get tired. So that's a huge thing. Hamzat Chimaev, on the other hand, probably wouldn't be able to do that. He'll get tired. He needs to fix that, by the way. But shout out to Hamzat. But yeah, Ilia is the whole package. He can strike. He's always moving forward. He's clearly a cardio machine. He doesn't get tired. So the perfect fight for Alexander Volkanovski. And I think he's the most dangerous guy for Volkanovski because he's clearly a hungry guy. And the guys he's beaten aren't just lames. Josh Emmett's a top guy. He's beaten others too, but Josh Emmett really stood out because of how he did it. And he was still in control. He never really lost his composure. He was steady, 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 steady. Just doing the same thing for 5 rounds, just hitting him and punching him in the face, busting him up, and again, it's scary because you think a guy gets tired from whooping on somebody else so much, which is normal, but he didn't look tired. He's clearly hungry. He's on a mission, and that alone would scare Volkanovski fans because Volkanovski is such a great fighter in his own right, very dangerous, and he has been beaten the featherweight division. And Connor has kind of said a few times that he would like to fight Volkanovski. He would not. I know he's undefeated at featherweight, but the guys that Connor beat compared to who he's beating today, whole different level. But for Ilia, the only thing I think he should watch out for if he fights Volk would be getting hit too much. He needs to be content with being, I would say, be a tad less aggressive, only because if you're overly aggressive with a guy like Volk, who's known for hitting and not getting hit so much in fights, especially at featherweight, because he's very fast, he's hard to hit. You can ask Max Holloway about that. He's very hard to hit. And Max Holloway's a beast himself. He's very dangerous. And Volk made him look easy. And he's not easy. He'll beat up any other top guy himself. He'd whoop me right now. So that's the thing. But I wanted to admit that. But someone's calling me. I'm not gonna answer it right now. But Volkanovski's he climbed. Get off my live. Um but for him, he needs to fight smarter. And he needs to be okay with, not overextending. Because Volk's very good about hitting people and moving away. And he can also finish guys too. Yair Rodriguez is no joke, and he finished him pretty well. And he's a calculated fighter too. I like what he talked about after the fight, where he said he prepared for the head kick, that fancy head kick he does, and he did a really good job of that too, right? And he was very good about moving a certain way before he took him down, not just charging in and taking him down, because he would have got knocked out. And that's when Volk told Yair Rodriguez, hey, I prepared for you really hard. You made me train hard for you. Because that's a guy that could have finished it. So I think Ilia Tuporia needs to take a page out of Volk's book in that regard. That way he doesn't get clipped with something crazy while he's charging in, trying to finish it. because Volk's not stationary at all. He's gonna move away. He's content with moving away from you while picking you apart. So Ilia needs to learn to fight that fight. If he does learn to fight that fight, he will beat Volkanovski. He's very dangerous. And the thing about coming off a knockout loss, and I know it's Islam Makhachev, and it's not at featherweight, but it still happened. All right, and it's got to be to an extent demoralizing. Not to say he hasn't gotten over it, because let's be honest, if anybody can go get over a loss like that and still come back and defend his own title, it's Volkanovski. He's probably going to overcome it, but it's still a challenge, because it's the same guy he fought back in February, and he feels like he could have won that fight. The reality is he got taken down too many times. He also got hit on the feet quite a bit. He didn't do enough, in my opinion, to win that fight. And yes, you finished on top of him during the fight, but that's the only time you got on top of him was in the fifth round, when he pretty much was able to pull away. So a lot of people don't think about that. And then when they fight again, Volkanovski goes in there and gets put away pretty easily, honestly. And it's not easy, because Volk's no easy fighter. He's an elite fighter, but you know what I mean. Islam made it look easy. Pretty much silenced him and anybody else that thought he had a chance with him. But for Volk he's going to have to overcome that, because he's been finished, he's been beat, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what it is. The first fight, he could say, well, I had a chance at this and that happened if I adjust something. This time, it's, no, somebody was better than me. How's he going to handle that adversity? How's he going to deal with that? I pretty much figure how he's going to do it, but it's still interesting to see if he actually does it, if that makes sense. Ilia hasn't had to deal with that yet. He's going in there with a guy that's been tested, that's gone through a lot, and that can be a good thing for Volk, but it can also be a bad thing, because at this point, Volk has been through a lot, losing to Islam, going through adversity with Ortega, but we'll see. I mean, I'm very interested to see how this fights, because Elia's going to run his mouth. He's going to talk some trash and try to get under Volk's skin. I mean, Max Holloway tried it too in the third fight. Now, obviously, it didn't work, because Volk had already known he whipped him twice, so that trash talk had no effect on him, But this is a different fighter. He hasn't fought before, and a guy who can beat Volk, because I think he can. I do see a scenario to where if Ilia Tuporia were to win this fight, he's going to be good at anticipating where Volk moves and how he's moving, where he's moving, and stuff like that. So if he's in the fight with Volkanovski, he's going to be able to say, okay, normally at this time, he's here, and then he's right over there. What can I hit him with? How can I strike him to be able to catch him while he's trying to evade, or when he's coming in too close? That way I don't get hit too. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ilia was aggressive, but just not too aggressive to where he's just charging in, and then Volk's just clipping him and moving away from him, because Volk's not going to come right at him. He's going to circle away and be willing to take his shots and move. But it's interesting to see that, because they're both great fighters. And if anybody can win the title, it's Ilia. I'm actually a big fan of Ilia. If he wins this fight, I got no problem with it. I'll be happy about it. And I'm a Volk fan. But it's just hard to see anybody straight up beat Volkanovski, because yeah, he did get knocked out, but it was the best pound for pound, in my opinion, second best pound for pound fighter in the world. I still think John Jones is the best, because he hasn't been beat yet, and he's been in this game for a long time. Islam hasn't been quite as proven. He can do it one day, but he hasn't been proven. That's besides the point. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about that. Even I had nobody come onto this video, I could care less. I'm going to keep going live. I'm going to keep doing me, keep doing what I'm doing. And that's what it is. So, thanks, I guess. And we'll talk more later. Peace.